Hi, welcome to Haunt Talk. I'm Josh.
I'm Kim.
And today we're going to be reviewing Hundred Acre Manor. And it's Pittsburgh PA, but it's South Park, I believe, is what it's actually located in.
Yeah.
Hundred Acre Manor, it's Pittsburgh-ish area. There's a lot of places that are Pittsburgh-ish.
Yeah.
And before we get started on the review, if you haven't checked out our other reviews, please do so. Our Haunt documentary is also available on YouTube for free now. The trailer is also there, and that'll all be in the link description below. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and like our page on Facebook. And I guess now we'll go ahead and get into the review. And as always, we're going to rate on the categories of sets and props, actors, design, scare factor, and then we'll do an overall. And the overall is not an average, it's just how we feel about the place overall. And we'll also touch on things before we do the overall score of customer service and just any other things of note that don't necessarily get a score or factor in, but are things that are worth noting. Alright, so first we'll go ahead and start with sets and props. To this we gave a 9 to. It's really something impressive in all honesty, like what this place does.
I have to say, they've really amped up their design.
They have. It's always been good. I've always liked it. But I'm saying, like, before maybe it was like a 7.5, and now, like, we're real big boy territory, and we're at 9. And the themings this year are pretty cool, especially the first theme, which, what do they call it? The host. Yeah. So, of course, they do have a thing where you enter and you go through one of those elevators. If you haven't been in one, they're not always the best thing. 100 Acres is cool. Yeah. They actually do a really good job. And the actress in there was good. Not good in actors now, but just mentioning that area, because that's basically all it is. It's an actor in a moving room. So that was good. But then you get into the host, and this thing was really cool.
Very cool.
It's like...
It was like a mix of the Black Plague and Jack the Ripper in the middle of London. It was just... I felt like I was in London.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
The lengths that they went to make you feel that way. I mean, like one of the first scenes, like they have a sewer system you're walking through with. You're walking like down like a sidewalk type thing, and there's a pipe that's just pouring water and a river that's running by you. And it smelled like sewage too, but I don't know if that was actually a scent machine because it smelled really bad outside. Either way, it added to the ambiance, I guess. The ambience, I don't know. But either way, that part was really cool.
Yeah. It was really cool. They had like, if you're familiar with the Black Plague, a lot of the doctors wore those cool plague masks with the long noses.
Usually known as like Venetian plague masks.
Yeah.
So it's more of a thing of that.
So they had a lot of people that were doing that, and that just really added to the creep factor. Because those masks just by themselves are pretty creepy, knowing the history of why they were worn and everything. And it was really neat to see people with those on, and just the whole atmosphere was just really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And like one of my standout parts, and there's a lot of standout parts actually, but of this section at least, they had like a thing that just looked like a streets of London. They had the guys like in the trench coats, and some of them had the bird-looking mask on, the Venetian plague masks she was talking about. And there's like street lamps, and they're flickering, and there's lots of fog, and you're just walking down it, and they have like storefronts and stuff, and like wheelbarrow stuff you see in London. It wasn't even like a big scare in that area, but it was so creepy in the fog, and the guys just like kind of stalking there. It was one of those instances where you don't always have to have a jump scare, but like the atmosphere is just so thick and rich that you're just like, you're transported. Like she said, you felt like you're in London. It was really cool. Now they do offer, they advertise it, this is another place they advertise it as a multi-haunt, but there's no lines. The themes actually were pretty consistent. Yeah, that's more design things, we'll get into that. But, so the next theme that they did was, what was it be? Oh, Torture Tank. Which this was...
Basically, like, if you've seen any of the Hostel movies, that's basically what this was just a big warehouse with people strung up on chains, being tortured, that kind of stuff. And, I mean, overall, it was executed pretty well.
It was done well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was one of the shorter sections, which I think was a correct choice, because, again, we've seen it before, but this was done very well. And they have a cool facade when you walk in, because I think it used to be like, might have used to be like a hospital kind of theme, like a mental ward.
Yeah.
Which that's still there, but it's a cool facade. I mean, like they changed a lot of other things up in it, but yeah, I mean, it's what you expect, but it was cool. It was pretty damn cool. The next one, which was Voodoo on, which is like wasn't it kind of like some bayou thing, or it's just
it was called Voodoo.
Okay.
And quite literally, and I don't want to spoil it, but you were on a boat
Yeah, they have a thing where you'll know what we're talking about when you get there. But yeah, if you've been to,
you were on a boat.
yeah, you're in a boat, and it surprised us. It shocked us. I screeched a little, you know. But another really cool thing about this segment is there's a lot of waterworks there too. Like they have a thing where you're like walking through like a half claustrophobia bag, and there's like a waterfall pouring down beside you. They have like a whole, I mean, it's like a bayou. I mean, it was really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it
very
works.
effective.
They have made a whole little cave system out of like fake rocks and stuff, and there's some cool props in there. Yeah, and the theming is very well. Everyone is, you know, dressed up as if they were doing some black magic, some voodoo. You know, that's what you're doing. It's a huge alligator. And then we get to the next one, the Breach, which was like alien themed. This had some really cool stuff in it. A cool like zero gravity room, which we'll talk about that again later. But it was part of that, and it was really cool. They had like one of those vortex tunnel. It's not a vortex tunnel, but it's like with the lasers or whatever. It was really long. That was neat. Themed well, just what you expect. The last one was the only one that was a little bit confusing, which was what All Hallows Eve is what they called it, Hallows Eve.
Yeah, it was called Hallows Eve, and it was just like, I guess it was supposed to be just Halloween in general.
It's Halloween. All the scenes were done fine. Like they were done well, I think, and it looked good. But it was just.
Yeah.
This is the reason it's more of a 9 than a 10, is because this last one just fell out of place. And usually they have a really cool maze, which I'm not a big fan of mazes because they can get confusing and they cluster everyone together a lot of times. And this was just a black maze. So they got rid of that, and, you know, they tried to put, like, more actual content in. Mm-hmm. Some of it was really cool. Some of it was kind of missed. It just kind of felt like it was just kind of slip-slop together because if you're like, oh, I'm a Halloween haunted house. We're going to have a theme for one of the haunts be Halloween. And then it had, like, all these themes of things we'd already seen. Like, there was a part where there's, like, a butcher shop type thing. We kind of saw that in Torture Tank. You know, there
were vampires. There was just, it was basically like someone ate too much Halloween candy and then threw it up in this haunt. It was...
And, like, if you didn't know what the themes were, which I didn't really pay attention to themes that well, she knew because she, like, looked a little more into it. Like, I'm just walking through and I was confused. I'm like, what's happening? Like, we were doing these consistent themes and now I'm like, theme after theme after theme. Every room's different. And I'm like, that's fine if you're a haunted house that does that. But, like, when you're a haunted house where you have, like, 4 or 5 consecutive themes and now you're like, haunted house diarrhea. Then
pretty much.
You're just kind of like, oh, what? But, again, done very well, just kind of strange.
All right, now we're going to talk about actors. We gave them an 8.
Yep. So they're pretty impressive for the most part.
The one that stood out the most for me was in the torture tank. And there was a room with just a bunch of hanging bodies. You've seen it in like pretty much every haunted house. But the guy just kept asking everybody if they wanted to hang out. And you know what? It made me giggle. Because, I mean, yeah, I want to hang out with your body bags, and it was funny.
But yeah, there could have been a few more actors. That was one thing. Like, I felt like there was, especially in All Hallows Eve, I think it was we got there and we're like, eh.
Yeah. There were like maybe 3 or 4 people in there.
Makeup was done pretty well.
Yeah.
From what I could see, the costume was really awesome. Specifically for me. And the Breach, the alien-themed haunt, is there's this... I knew it was a guy, but this really cool full-body costume, like creepy-ass alien thing. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Pumpkinhead, the way it looked.
Yeah.
But it was an alien, which, yeah. But so we're like walking down, we had entered that vortex tunnel we were talking about, the laser vortex tunnel that's long and bends. And we're walking, and I turn around, and I didn't know he was following me. He's just behind there, and so cool he's in the lasers, and he's like reaching this long, spindly hand at me, and it was creepy, and like, I'm like, ugh. I thought it was pretty cool, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the actors, there wasn't, like, any real big standout things, but they were good. They were good. They were definitely did their job. So next we'll move on to design, which we gave a 9 to. And as I kind of touched on before, it's the little things that really bring the design of a haunt up.
Mm-hmm. Smells.
Right.
The way the place is lit.
And it's lit amazingly.
Yeah.
Like, it's done real well.
Yeah.
And the interactivity was something I talked about, which is why it's a little bit different than sets and props exactly. Like the alien room, the breach, they have an anti-gravity room, which, you're walking up a real steep hill and you're like having to hold on to these banisters. And then the boat, you're not just walking through a set. The set is messing with you. It's interacting with you. And you can do that in a haunted house, Like changing the terrain, like those floor panels that move, they kind of like do this type of thing when you're walking on it. It's just those little things that can catch people off guard, and you're not expecting them, and they just add that much more to the space you're already in, so you never trust your surroundings. You're like, oh, this place is creepy looking, but I have no idea what might happen to me, because I've been told by these other things that it could be horrible.
Right.
In a good way. But, I already tell you, I don't know. What am I doing?
Scare factor?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Next, we're going to talk about scare factor. Now, unfortunately, with this, they got a little bit of a lower score. Got a 7.
Yeah. Which, again, I touched on in actors. There wasn't quite enough of them. That's probably why. There just wasn't a lot. They were pretty good. There wasn't a lot. Not many even like air cannons or much. There were animatronics, but not many of them actually like actively tried to scare you. No, we got a few times.
Yes.
A few times. It's another place, so this place is very busy. So you're going to run into other people, and that's like 9 times out of 10 what ruins haunted houses for me is other people. And we don't take that into our grade. And they have to, when you have a line that's like 1,000 people long, you have to pump them through if you don't want to be open till morning. So, that's a trade-off when you go to these big-name haunts, and you don't get that personal experience a lot of times because everyone wants to go in. And, we went, this is their second weekend open because they open now, like, the second weekend of September. It's ridiculous how early they open, which is awesome. I'm fine with that. Don't stop that. But, it's really busy. They do what they got to do. But I feel like there could have been more actors and a few more things that, like, really tried to scare you. Like,
yes.
Except there's more actors, props that like more aggressively did. And they had some of those puppet things, where people control them, they come out of the wall. Maybe a few more of those.
Yeah. Because those are pretty effective.
Yeah, like even, just like, if you're a high volume haunt, maybe some things that are more of a high volume scare that can scare more than one person in a room when an actor comes out, oh, okay, they're going to get the third person line, rawr, they got him, It's like, well, that person's been getting got, how about the other people in line, So, like, even, like, something, like, simple, like, how they have, like, the van in complete darkness kind of thing. Like, places do that kind of thing. Something like that. Just something that, like, freaks people out all at once. I don't know. A couple of that. Be a little bit better. But still, 7. Still good. So, 4 overall. Customer service. Didn't really have any experience with them. Again, try to get a hold of them on Facebook. Want to talk to someone. Won't answer me. Probably because they have a big head on their shoulders. That's fine. Didn't really experience anything bad. Everyone there is pretty nice and that. There's actually parking here. Unlike one of its other haunts nearby, Scare House, this one does have a parking lot. You're going to park in a wet field, so might not want to take your nice expensive sports car there, because you might not leave. But
or your nice shiny shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because this place, even though it looks like it's inside, it's not. It's actually an outside haunt. But yeah, which brings us to our overall score, which we gave a 9 to. Really like this haunted house and highly recommend that if you can make it out there. Even though there's a couple low points here and there, I think the positives way outweigh them in this point.
Yes.
It's something to see. It's something to behold.
Definitely.
Even though it's not the scariest thing ever, you should go there. It's awesome. You should for sure check it out.
You should also check out our haunted house documentary on YouTube. Check out our Instagram page as well. If you're not subscribed to this stuff, do that.
Having a
Facebook,
lot of reviews
all
coming
that
this
fun
year.
stuff.
Yep. All right, and we'll see you on the next review.